I can't believe it. But today I have what People magazine has rated as the #1 most recognized actor and my childhood hero, Jerry Mathers. You're from Idaho, right?
Nope, Iowa.
Iowa. Isn't that where Radar from MASH was supposedly
I have no idea.
the fictional character from MASH
It's possible.
was from
My dad left Sioux City when I was like 6 months or 8 months old and moved to Los Angeles to go to USC. So I've been to Iowa and met a lot of my relatives, but it's only like, for 3 or 4 hours you go and you say, hi, we're in California and you're here, bye.
Yeah.
But they're nice people. I like Iowa, except in the winter. It's not.
So you
very
haven't
nice place.
been there much. Now in California, it's like what today? Like
Probably in the
72,
70s.
Yeah, about
Probably
70.
70s.
70.
We live close to the desert, but it's not desert, so it's not real hot. But once in a while we get maybe 104, 105.
So where'd you say you were from in California again?
Valencia.
Valencia.
It's up in just before the mountains in the far side of Los Angeles, as if you were going to San Francisco.
So you're not like on the route to Las Vegas, right?
No, Las Vegas is out the other way.
The other way, yeah.
Into the States.
When I was in Las Vegas, I always saw that sign that said Los Angeles, 100 miles.
Valencia would be one of the first places you hit. Wouldn't be the very first, but probably within the first 10 little cities in there, because everybody has their own little city. And they're basically housing divisions where a developer would come and he'd build maybe 8, 9, maybe 1,000 houses, sell them, and then go up to the next big lot and do the same thing.
It's real flat.
Very flat. But the mountains are probably 40 minutes away. And we're pretty much surrounded by mountains, except if you're going into LA, and that's where it kind of flattens out.
It's really like here, you're staying with Alan Jones, right?
Mm-hmm.
At Creekside?
Yeah.
Creek Ridge.
Whatever. Whatever you say, I'll say yes, because I don't know. I don't know what the proper
boy,
one
isn't that a nice place?
It's beautiful.
He is really a nice guy. He texted me last night and said, you and him were watching the ball game.
Yep, we're having a good time. Relaxing with the ball game.
He's really smart, isn't he, Alan?
Seems to be.
He is.
I didn't give him any tests, but he seems to be.
Now, would you like the weather here in Tennessee, or would you? I mean, it's just too. And you're here on a bad day. It's dreary, right?
Well, where I live is on the kind of the outskirts of the desert. There's Los Angeles. And there's quite a bit of smog in Los Angeles just because of all the cars.
Yeah.
But where I live, the mountains are here, and they pretty much surround the whole place. But the smog doesn't really get that far. So we have very, very fresh air. But if you have to go into town, it's not the best place for your lungs.
See, I can't imagine that. I couldn't imagine it being so thick you could see it or smell it.
Well, you can smell it. You can't really see it because but it's heavy. I mean, you just get a heavy feeling because it's like when just before it rains, but it's like that all the time.
So if I was living in California, I would think to myself more about this pollution and global warming and effects on the earth than I do in Tennessee. I'm thinking, what are they talking about, right?
Well, but see, where we live in Los Angeles, we're not close, but close enough that basically most of it gets pushed out into the ocean, which is kind of sad. But we're right there, and then the winds come over the mountains, down through the hills, and pushes it all out to the sea.
I see.
We have really, where I am, very good air.
What do you do normally during the day?
Watch TV, go out and garden maybe, talk to my wife, and she always has something for me to do.
He likes watching the news.
Now y'all met what in 19? What's it like the most glaring question is, what's it like? Did you grow up watching the Beaver?
I did.
Did you have any idea that you would end up being married to him?
Not at all. No.
Can you imagine that?
I got very lucky, let me tell you. So I don't even worry about that because it was just luck.
Yeah.
Our sisters were very good friends, and I should have figured this out as a bachelor, but women can find better women than men can.
What do you mean, your sisters?
I have a sister, and that they knew her.
Oh, they knew her.
And
so you already knew him.
Well, no, our sisters
Knew each other.
They raised their kids in the same area.
Oh, so it's not like growing up you knew him.
No. And so they figured I have a lot of experience behind the camera, producing for quite a few years and coordinating and all. So they thought this would be a good mix because he's in front of the camera. I'm used
Did
to
you
being
know that
behind.
they knew him?
Yes. So yeah, we're a good match.
Well, it seems. Tell me what it's like, though. I mean, can you separate him from the TV show?
Oh, sure.
Because I'm having a
absolutely.
hard time doing that.
Well, we have a really simple life.
Uh-huh.
And what's really incredible is that Jerry goes around the country. We travel together, and he does autograph shows. And the fans are so excited to meet him because he grew up in their living room. So they feel like they know him. And we've had people cry. We've had people, they're speechless. And it's
Sometimes
such
it's a little scary.
it's such a testament to how important this show was to and continues to be for so many people.
It's one of the longest running shows in television history because it's never been off the air since basically 1957.
1957.
And it plays all over the world. It plays in about 30 countries. So I speak all these languages with
30 countries.
30 countries all over the world. And some of them, it leaks over because some of the communist ones, they can't show it, but the people that live close to the border can show it.
Isn't that so? When you say do some people get so starstruck that it is sort of scary?
Not really,
No.
because they're not in any way that they make me feel uncomfortable. They're just so happy to see you. It's like if you haven't seen your parents, or your dad may have been away on a trip or something.
Yeah.
They're just so happy to see me, and I just kind of go, it's fun. I like them. They're nice people, and they say, I watch you. I get up every morning and I watch you, and I brush my teeth and go to work. And I'm thinking, oh, okay, that's fine with me.
Also, too, what was really interesting, especially during the pandemic, is a lot of people recorded the show in the morning and they watch it at night because it's peaceful and they can go to sleep with feeling good and knowing that they're watching something that has a lot of value and sensitivity. And we hear that a lot, that people watch the show before they go to sleep at night to have a peaceful rest.
Who did the intro?
Wouldn't have the foggiest idea.
Yeah.
That music is
The music is good, and there's also the guy that talks over them, but you never meet those people. Those are people that just
so you don't know who wrote the jingle, I guess you call it.
Well, it's a song, toy band.
Toy Parade.
Toy Parade.
Toy Parade.
The music is also, it's called Toy Parade. And then they put the lyric to it for Leave It to Beaver.
Now, when Leave It to Beaver came out, it ruined that song for anything other than Leave It to Beaver.
Well, it
I
certainly
think they
is
bought it. I
memorable.
think they bought it. They found it and bought it, and then it was something that we owned, and that's why it always plays.
Right.
Well, it's the one of the I guess it's the most iconic song there is, besides maybe Happy Days.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
They did a lot of work. I remember when we were first going on, they were looking all over for what would be the theme song, because that's what the show starts and ends with.
Yeah.
So it took them a while to find it, I'll tell you.
Now, one thing about it is in the beginning of the show, in the first season, they had Hugh Beaumont telling what the show was going to kind of be about and what kids were learning, and they stopped that about the second season. Wonder why they did that. Just
no idea, but they somebody probably said, oh, that this would be better.
Yeah.
There were two. Conley and Mosier were the writers.
Joe Conley and
Bob Mosier.
Bob Mosier.
And they were the head honchos. So whatever they did, you did. It didn't matter. They said, "This is what we're going to do this year," then that's what you did.
So they were in charge.
They were in charge,
and no question about it.
But they were the producers and the writers, so they knew what they had written. They knew how they wanted it to flow, and sometimes they'd come back and they'd say, that scene we did yesterday, no, that's not what we wanted. We wanted it to kind of move this way or that way, and then we'd go back and do it again.
So when you originally had they written other shows?
Amos and Andy, they were the first. I don't know if they were the first, but they were the main writers of.
Well, that was funny.
Amos and Andy.
Boy, that was funny.
So they had a lot of experience.
Did they go to write other stuff later?
They did. I can't remember exactly what it was.
Did they do the Munsters?
They did the Munsters.
Yeah,
the Munsters and a couple other shows like that. But their biggest hit from the time that they started working was Leave It to Beaver. Now they may have done some after I left. I don't know.
I noticed that sometimes I was watching a Petticoat Junction the other night, and Eddie Haskell was on the show.
Ken Osmond, yes. And the funny part was what he really did, he wasn't really a full-time actor. He was a motorcycle cop. So can you imagine you're driving along this? Yeah, Eddie Haskell, Ken Osmond. Ken Osmond was Officer Osmond of the Los Angeles motorcycle.
While he was on the show?
While he was on the show. And he would get, because they do
That'd freak you out.
They do get time off, for vacations. And that's when we would get him. And so we would stack all the things he was going to do into like a week for the whole year and do him because he could only get that vacation for a few days.
How old was he?
That was for the new Leave It to Beaver.
For the new Leave It to
not
Beaver,
the
not the
original
old.
Okay, yeah. The Still the Beaver.
He was the oldest of us all. He was, I don't know, but probably in his early 20s by the time he was doing the end of the show.
But not in the beginning.
No, in the beginning.
Because in the beginning, he just had a couple of appearances, but they started showing him more and more.
Everybody liked him so much. He was getting a lot of fan mail, and people realized that he was a very integral part of the show. And what they always say is everybody knows an Eddie Haskell, and they're like, sometime or other you're going to meet a guy like Eddie Haskell.
What makes some actors integral like that? I mean, it just sticks or something. People relate it to or something.
Yet people, have an idea of what every actor should be. Like the Beaver's a little boy and very innocent. Wally's his big brother, but knows a lot more about the world. And Eddie Haskell's the kind of guy you want to stay away from.
I guess it is that people can relate, right?
Yeah, people do. They like Leave It to Beaver because a lot of those things happened to them. It may not have been exactly like what we did on the show, but they can say, "Oh yeah, I remember when I was a kid, I did that," and "Oh yeah, I shouldn't have done that, but it was fun."
I've always thought that Leave It to Beaver was more of a show where they it was sort of being told or watched through what Beaver would see.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that it was meant to be that way. It was the world through the eyes of a child.
Even though he wasn't in the scene, it was his perception.
Right. What he thought should be happening, and what did happen was sometimes different, but that's what a child's view of the world.
Now, do you remember Gus?
Gus the fireman.
The fireman?
Burt Mustin was his name.
Burt Mustin. He was on Andy Griffith.
Well, he's in a lot of things, but what he really did, and he was hard to get, was he was a real estate agent. He was $1 million real estate agent. When I say $1 million, he was selling every year around $1 million worth of
that was a lot then,
of real estate. Yeah, well, in Los Angeles, it's not that many, but it'll definitely keep you busy.
Yeah.
So we had trouble getting him. We'd want him for a show, and sometimes we'd have to wait 6 or 8 weeks before he could kind of line people up and be able to do it.
Also, he started his career at 65 years old.
65
He
years
had
old.
all kinds of other careers.
Well, yeah, but real estate was his big thing, but he was
and then he
a
started at
big real estate
65.
man.
So there's now. Would he get paid a lot for that, or would it be more of a hobby?
I think it was more of a hobby. I mean, it was very good pay. I mean, in the hundreds of dollars for a day's work, and he might work 3 or 4 days a week on the show, and then go back and sell real estate on Thursday, Friday, Monday, or Saturday and Sunday, and then go back.
Did you know him personally? I mean, like a good friend, or was
Yeah,
it?
it's probably more like a teacher, but you had more time to be with them because there's not there's not 30 other kids wanting to talk to him. I mean, it was just he and I, and when we had a scene, I'd go up there and go to his dressing room, and my mom would be there, and he'd read his lines, and I'd read mine, and he might say something to me like, "Oh, that one you should leave a little more of a break for, or you should change that one a little bit." And he was a very nice man.
Did you have cue cards, or did you have this memory?
Just memories. And then it wasn't that hard. I mean, it wasn't anything. I've been doing that since I was started on live TV at 2 years old. So it wasn't anything that was hard for me to. It's probably like you going to first grade and learning how to read by second grade. It wasn't any big deal.
Right.
Your mom helped you.
Yeah, my mom helped me. She would read it to me, and then I just memorized it.
But you have to have some natural talent in there that somebody saw. Obviously,
Absolutely.
right?
And he has never had an acting lesson. So it was totally natural, which is incredible.
It was just easy. I mean, it wasn't anything.
Were you being more yourself? Would you say that Beaver was more like you than maybe we realized? Maybe it wasn't that hard to act, that it was more you?
It was me, but it was me because they were watching me and taking things that I did and putting them in. I mean, they were just little things, but a lot of things, that my mom or my dad they'd say, "What did Jerry do that?" And they'd say, "Oh, he did this." And then 3 weeks later, that was in the show, but you wouldn't have known it. You'd have thought it was just something because it was things that were really happening. It was that way with all the people on the show.
That was what the show was. It was supposed to be things that had happened.
An all-American family.
You remember Marta on Lost in Space? She was actually. I like to watch the different shows and see the actors that crossed over, like seeing Eddie Haskell on Petticoat Junction and seeing Wally on Father Knows Best. Remember, he went to their house for something.
Yeah, well, that was we shot 39 a year for 6 years, but that would only take about 8 months, 9 months sometimes. So then you had a time off. And if you wanted to go work on another show, they didn't care because it didn't really matter. You weren't saying he was Wally. He was Tony Dow playing whatever name he had on that show.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of fun, and we knew most of those people because we'd go to all sorts of things, during the breaks in the show, and so we knew all those people. So it was just fun to go and be with them.
It's sort of like in the construction business. You talk to the roofer and the brick mason, they also work on that job over here, and they work on that job, and the reason they do is because we know. So it becomes a circus, or a thing that you got to be there to be involved, I guess.
Yeah, if you're not there, there's a lot of people that want that job, so you have to be very good at it because there's people that are very good at it that are going to take the job if you don't.
Now, if somebody went to California today and just sat on the stool and just tried to get in, it probably wouldn't work because TV's not like that anymore, is it?
Well, it's a little bit different, but if they were good, it depends. And you have to have a lot of skills. I mean, people say, "Oh yeah, he's a sound man." Well, to be a sound man takes a lot of work to be able to know exactly where all the different machines need to be at a certain time and how close that mic has to be, but it can't show on the TV. It can't show on the screen.
And lighting.
And lighting. There's probably 10, 15 people just on lighting in a big TV show.
And the camera, we got a camera guy here, and the lights, and I always think the lights are too bright, and then I think they're not dark enough.
You never know till you see them, and it's too late, right?
It's too late. But now you can kind of adjust it a little bit.
Yeah, you always could a little bit, but sometimes you need a lot. You only get a little bit.
Now, did you have you had what, a brother and a sister?
I have 3 brothers and a sister.
Were any of them get into acting?
They did, but not a whole lot. My brothers are all sheriffs.
Jimmy.
Sheriffs
Yeah, my one brother is a director of photography, and my other 2 brothers are sheriffs
in California.
in Los Angeles. Yeah.
Also, Jerry's sister, Susie, sometimes was in some of the background scenes of
Yeah.
Leave It to Beaver.
Is that right?
Yeah.
She's the mayor. She's the mayor of her
in San Fernando Valley.
San Fernando Valley. Yeah.
Yeah.
The mayor of San Fernando Valley.
Well, it's one of the
Suburbs?
San
One of
Fernando
the-
Valley is a huge
Yeah.
place, and she is a certain place in it that she's the mayor of.
Is there many in that town?
I would think
We don't know.
probably.
Yeah, there is, but
Yeah.
we don't know how many.
I have
Like-
no
like
idea.
20,000 or
Probably
100,000?
between more like between 10 and 15 probably, but they're huge places. I mean, they're all 2 and 3 acre houses, and so it's a lot of them are not agricultural, but the people have horses on the property if they're big enough.
Mhm. More of a gentleman farm. sort of
Gentlemen
thing.
farmers would be the way. It's up kind of it's flat for a little ways, and then it goes up into the hills, and most of the ranches are in the hilly part of it. But
Do you
they're not
think-
all hilly.
Do you think that when you quit, you wanted to go back to high school, right?
Yeah, well, because I'd never been in school with the kids. I had a private tutor. Now, they were very good. They picked the best teachers of the LA Unified School District for that grade, and I would have her as my only teacher. But, I never went out and played any sports because I was working. I worked from basically 8 to 5 or 9 to 6 every day. And I'd go home, study my lines, and come back the next day and do it again.
Well, it's a whole different world, isn't it?
It is a different world.
And it was fun. I mean,
Yeah.
they knew that for kids, I mean, with adult actors, they know what they're getting into. But with kids, if a kid doesn't want to do it, it's very hard to make them. So they made it fun. They'd have the carpenters, and I would build boats, and we'd do all sorts of things just to keep me amused. I mean, I went to school. I had a private tutor.
Mhm.
And they would pick for whatever grade I was in one of the best teachers in the LA Unified School District, which is a huge school district, and she was my teacher. And I wouldn't be in school with anybody else unless one of the other kids was in that particular show. And then they'd take off and they'd bring their books from their school. But so I would have my own private teacher, and it was very good. I'm a graduate of the University of California, Berkeley, so it was a good education.
What'd you graduate in?
Philosophy.
Well, that can get deep. Don't you think all philosophy comes from Horace?
It's possible. It's just something that I like. So it's something that when you start studying it and you read what one person said and another person, they don't really sometimes jive, but it's just interesting to see how their minds were working, 100 years ago, or maybe even more than that.
Or even 50, or even now?
Yeah.
Do you think the minds has been a lot different, or is it about the same? Of course.
Well, I think nowadays we have a lot more technology, which makes your mind have to work more. I mean, people don't think about it, but 100 years ago, nobody watched television. What is your mind seeing now?
What would it be doing? Reading?
Yeah.
I don't guess they'd even be reading.
A lot of people couldn't read. I mean,
Boy, that's right.
so
We think, what did they read? They couldn't read.
yeah, because there was no, the rich people went to school, but a lot of people were out, in the farms and things, and they did all the work. And it's interesting to see how our nation has changed.
Think about that. They did. That's not even really dawned on me. They didn't even read.
Mm-mm.
That was how long ago? Maybe
50 years, 60, 75 years ago, probably. And a lot of people do. I'm not saying that they were all not reading. A lot of people
certainly
read.
not 100 years ago,
No.
200 years ago.
No, but but everything is like that. Things change. You just never know. You go someplace and you learn something, and you come out and people go, how did you know that? I don't know. I learned that at school. Well, I didn't learn that at school. I don't know. That's what they taught
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, you're almost handicapped. We're handicapped on the stuff that we don't even know that we're handicapped on, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, it was always lucky for me because I was studying scripts, so I had a mind that was adjusted to listening to people say something and giving an answer. Well, when you're in a schoolroom, that's what the teacher tells you something. you find the answer and give it to her, and then you basically move on. So it's a really help for me.
Now, did Hugh Beaumont? He went to Chattanooga here for school.
Well, he was actually, when he was doing Leave It to Beaver, a Methodist minister. So he would not retire. I don't know what you'd call it, but he withdrew so he could do the show. So that he would go to some of the very, very poor congregations that couldn't afford a minister and work there on like Saturdays and Sundays, and then come back and be Hugh Beaumont or
Wasn't he in the first? Wasn't he Michael Shea originally?
And that was something he wasn't embarrassed by, but he's a minister. And Michael Shane is a person that when you walk up to him, if you're a bad guy, he takes you by your shirt and goes, boom, 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 what are you going to do? So I think when he got to Leave It to Beaver, he was a lot happier that was something that he could really kind of enjoy doing because it was something that was fun for him.
You almost felt like that was his ministry.
That's what I mean. In a sense, it was, because he was the boys telling the boys, you did this, but if you'd have done this, nothing would have happened. But you did that on the way,
right? And
so you're going to have to pay the consequences, and that's what Leave It to Beaver is all about.
That's what it's all about. Do you think that the writers and directors had that in mind, or do you think Hugh Beaumont brought that to it?
It wasn't Hugh Beaumont. It was the writers, but Hugh Beaumont was one of the writers, and he directed some of them, and he also wrote a few of the shows. But the two writers between them had 16 kids. So they knew a lot about how kids thought and what they were doing.
But you think they were trying to bring a wholesome thing to TV?
That's what they wanted. They wanted a show that the whole family could watch, because at that time there was a lot of, the shoot 'em up shows and cowboy shows and all these things. Mm-hmm. They wanted a show about an American boy living in their time, and what the things that could happen. And they took a lot of the things were things that happened to their kids, or the other parents would say, you know what my kid did, and then 3 weeks later a little part might be something that parent had said.
Well, that's interesting, because that's what I get out of the show, but I always wondered if that was on purpose or... Let me tell you about Capstar Bank. They're located in Nashville, Hendersonville, Gallatin, Athens, Madisonville, Sweetwater, Etowah, and in Cleveland at 950 25th Street and 3855 North Ocoee Street. I've used them. I like them. Give them a try. They're no problem. Mayfield was set in the town was supposed to be set in the suburbs of Mayfield. What was it the suburbs of? It didn't say, right?
No, Mayfield was the entire, in other words, there would have been probably all its stores and everything in that part of Mayfield. And in Los Angeles, that's what they do. They build housing tracts, and they also build a couple of,
what they call bedroom communities or something?
Bedroom communities, yeah. So you can drive, and they're usually fairly close to a freeway so that people can work there, but get on a freeway and go to work.
Mm.
That's always been, the fans always talk about, where's Mayfield?
Yeah.
And they wanted it to be anywhere USA, because it was
so they never really said you'll never see things like, New York Street or anything like that.
Well, that's the same way with Father Knows Best. It was never really said. We just sort of knew it was out west somewhere.
Yeah.
But if that was supposed to be set in Ohio they have a lot of our accents. I mean, Ohio's not that far. They're more like us than California is to us, I guess.
Mm-hmm. But they didn't want. It never snows there. It rains, but it never snows.
Never snows.
So people would say, well, then it can't be there. It can't be there. It's Los Angeles. It has to be the West Coast, because that's the only place that they still do everything and it never snows.
Why did they move from one house to the second episode? They moved houses.
Well, it wasn't a second episode.
Maybe this.
It went on for a while because the studios changed. Review bought Universal, which was a huge studio that had been working since.
But why didn't they leave the same house? See, that messes me up.
Well, because it was really a house. Now we had sets,
Oh,
but in the back lot it was really a house, and that was on a different studio that was probably 30 miles from the first studio. So they would have had to put it on a trailer and dragged it over there.
so they wrote it in to show that
we
that
moved.
they're moving.
It was much cheaper.
Now, Theresa, what was you doing when you met him?
I was working for a charity that helps seniors, and
From California also?
California, yeah. I have a lot of public relations background and coordinating background, so that's what I was doing at the time that we met. Yeah, and
What was it? What was the first thing that was said?
Hi.
Well, here this is a great story. So he wasn't sure if this was going to work out. So he decided, we got on the phone and we had a great conversation.
Well, our sisters knew each other.
Our sisters knew each other.
And they said,
Were they trying to set you up?
yeah, they both
Yeah.
said, this is the perfect person to both of us.
Because you'd been married before, right?
Yes.
He practiced twice.
A practice, yeah.
But
3 times the charm.
Yeah,
so
there you go.
There she is.
But what was really funny is we decided to go to lunch. So he picked his favorite restaurant for lunch.
Which was what?
It was the Smokehouse in Toluca Lake, California. And he figured if the lunch didn't go well, that at least he had his favorite meal. And I thought that was pretty brilliant. So, yeah, and then the rest is history because we hit it off immediately.
Well, so after that, how did y'all date a while?
We did. We dated a long time, probably
A year?
probably about 4 years or so before we got married.
So you were already doing your thing
Oh yeah,
before he came along.
Oh sure, I had about 35 years in production, and I had never been married before. So I'm very blessed because he has 3 wonderful children, and we now have 5 grandchildren under the age of
Golly.
7. They're under the age of 7, and they're so much fun.
Boy, it is a lot of work, isn't it?
She says fun, I say work.
And I'm just so grateful because I didn't know I would ever have that opportunity.
Where was your family? Where was your parents from?
Actually, I lived in pretty much the same, really close to where he lived also.
Like 20 minutes or 5 minutes?
Not 5 minutes, but
Probably more like 20 or 30.
we both lived in
So
the
like here to Ottawa or something?
Ottawa?
I don't know where
I mean,
Ottawa
it's like 20 minutes away.
Okay,
we
yeah.
both lived in the San Fernando Valley.
Yeah, it's
Just
a big-
ironically, we did.
It's a big valley, but it's
Yeah.
not that big.
Yeah.
But after Beaver, after about it was 6 years, right?
6 years, yes.
So then you go to school. Is it over? You're just a regular kid?
Pretty much so, because I was on the football team. So all my friends, we all went in as freshmen, and so all my friends in all my classes and it was a private boys' school, Notre Dame High School.
How many in that class, roughly?
Probably 30, 35. But, everybody that was on the football team knew each other, so nobody gave me any problems. I know other people that are child actors that had to go to a regular school had problems because people would come up and tease them. And you don't tease somebody on the football team because he's got 3 guys and probably 5 times your size.
Did you get along good with the other players?
Pretty much. And it was a private school, too, so it wasn't like all these people came from the same place
Yeah.
and went to high school.
They
It was a
didn't carry
private-
knives like
No, only guns.
these just guys. Do you ever have to say, do you know who my husband is?
No,
She doesn't play that card.
I don't
No.
really say that, no, but I'm very proud of who he is and very respectful of all of the years that he's really been such a dedicated actor.
But she was behind the camera, so she knows a lot about it. So it's not like I'm working with somebody or married to somebody that doesn't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
She knows all the tricks and all the things that have to be done, and you can't just all of a sudden say, no, I'm tired and I'm going home.
And he doesn't have to worry about me embarrassing him, in public. I always say that I really helped coordinate red carpets for many years, and now I get to walk down it with him. So I feel very grateful.
Now you were just received the CW Family Film Award, right?
Very, was very,
Yes.
very proud to be able to do that because there's a lot of people that maybe should have got it instead of me, but I just got lucky and got it.
Well, it was actually the iconic
Yeah.
TV show.
Now, why is it that he's so iconic in that? I mean, People Magazine hasn't named, the most iconic. What is that?
I think that it's a show that's been on. It started in 1957. It's never been off the air. It plays in about 50 to maybe sometimes 70 different countries all over the world. So it's not just in America, it's all over the world that people see it. In fact, a lot of places in Europe and Asia, that's how they think people live in America because that's all they've ever seen because most of the other shows are blocked.
Yeah.
And for some reason, they don't block Leave It to Beaver. So it plays all over the world. I speak sometimes, though, very strangely, because a couple of the different countries have little girls dub my voice. Japan, yeah. In Japan, a little girl dubs my voice. So not only am I speaking Japanese, but it's definitely not a man's voice or a boy's voice.
It would be hard to watch it in another language, wouldn't it? You wouldn't know.
Well, it's not hard for me, but I remember it. And I'm thinking, well, that's not what I said. And I go, oh yeah, that's how you would say it in Japanese.
Now, after you later were when you graduated, why did you graduate for philosophy?
I just liked it, and it was something.
It doesn't seem to go.
What doesn't it go with?
I don't know,
Well, what did you graduate in?
I didn't graduate.
Well, see, that's why.
Yeah.
you don't even know what philosophy is.
Right.
Philosophy is how people think and how they should live their lives.
Ethics
is one of them.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of them, but I just really liked it. It was something that I could read. I could read all the different philosophy books and the philosophers from Plato on down, and it was just interesting to see how people, when you study philosophy and look back at other people, you understand why some of them are, not as happy as others, and it was just something I really liked, and it was easy for me to write papers about it, and I like doing the going back and finding other philosophers and seeing what each one had their own kind of little twist or turn that they thought is the way that people should live.
Yeah, I've often thought that when you read a lot of philosophy, it's all pretty close to the same thing.
Yeah,
it is.
Each person had their own, certain way of telling other people what it is and what they thought they should do.
Like you ever read Poor Richard's Almanac? It's really philosophy.
Yeah,
but it's just not deep.
Nope. And it's a way of living. You find out, that certain people live certain lives, and it was interesting for me to read about Plato, or all the other philosophers and Aristotle, and some of them are so different than the one right before him. But the good part about that is you can decide which one you think is the right one, and go on from there.
Like when you get into Norman Vincent Peale and
those are the big boys.
and who's that guy, Anthony Robbins? That'd be philosophy too, right?
It'd be philosophy, but it's not. It's something that when you're reading it, you know what you're reading. If you read Plato or all the different people that you read in the philosophy class, and you start thinking about it, it's how you live your life, what you think you should do. Should you do this? Shouldn't you do that? Why shouldn't you do that? Well, because it's not right.
You could almost say that philosophy is advice.
That's what it is. It's how to live your life.
Advice through experience. Maybe.
And you have some of the brightest people in the world giving you their experiences and telling you why you should do whatever this is what they did. You don't have to do it, but this is what they did. And a lot of times it's pretty good.
If you were to be a philosopher today, how could you add to what's already been said, but can they?
Well, what you would do is that you now have ways to tell people that wouldn't understand it in the way it was written 20 or 30 or 100 years ago or 1,000 years ago, maybe for some of it. And it's very interesting to see how people's minds work and how people do things? Why do people say this and then do that, or say that they will do this and then not do it?
Yeah, I don't know. Do you think so? You think philosophy stays pretty well the same? It's
For,
just
for thousands of years.
it's just a different way of.
Different people take it and maneuver it in different ways, and it's not necessarily the right way when they maneuver it. But Aristotle and Socrates had certain ways that they believe people should act, and that's what philosophy is. It teaches you how to be able to do that.
And it seems to me like that most of it, Horace sort of said prior to that they sort of twisted it up a little. There's a new guy called David Shermer or something like that, or he's the New Age philosopher.
And they come and go pretty quick.
Yeah, but they don't stay like the others, right?
No, they're no.
What do you think about that? What they call it, creatism, or what's the name of that? Where the mind, some people think the mind's separate from the body.
I've missed that one. I keep my mind and body together.
There's one guy that claims the mind and the body are two separate entities. Creatism or something like that.
Well, then he can have that, but I like it.
You think it's the same?
I think they're all connected. I mean, I'm pretty sure my mind and my body are connected. If they're not, I'm in big trouble.
What do you think about how does your kids? What was it like? You have how many kids? 3?
Yeah, it wasn't hard for them. I mean, I wasn't there, but I'd get up in the morning early because I had to be at the studio at 8, and I sometimes wouldn't get home till 9 or 10 o'clock. But I only did that for 39 weeks, and then I'd have the rest of the time off till we started the next season. So they got along with it very well, and I think they liked having a father that they could go to parades and sometimes ride in the cars and do things like that other kids absolutely could have never done. So it wasn't a big thing for them.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a big thing for them to see their father on television. And people say, I saw your father on television last night. And you go, so? So what? He's on television all the time.
Did you and Tony Dow get along real good?
Yes, we were always good friends.
No problem?
No problem, but we were always separated because he was quite a bit older than me. So he had his own teacher. I went to school on the lot at Universal, but I had my own teacher who was an elementary school teacher. He had his own. So, but he was a very, very nice guy and just had only thing that's bad about him is he's a terrific athlete. And so I wasn't around a lot of other people. And Tony Dow could take 5 steps over there, jump up in the air, do 2 somersaults and land on his feet.
Golly.
And I'd say, I can't do that. Yes, every other kid can do it because Tony can do it, but I can't. But then I found out that he was an AAU swimming and diving champion, and that's where he got all that stuff.
And he looked like it too. He looked fit.
Well, he had been working as an athlete since he was about 5 years old. And so he was just he could do somersaults up in the air, land on his feet, outswim anybody I know, and just a really nice guy that was always looking out for me because that's what he did.
So he was a little bit younger than Eddie Haskell at the time, I guess,
Yes.
maybe just a year or so.
I think it was even more than that. I think it was maybe even 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
But he was an interesting guy too. He's just everybody says, "Oh, how he's such a terrible person." He was the nicest guy, and he was a cop. He was a motorcycle cop. So how'd you like to be driving too fast on the freeway? The lights go on. All of a sudden, walks up to your window and goes, "Roll it down," and it'd be Eddie Haskell.
You'd think he was in a dream, wouldn't you?
Yeah, he'd take off that big white hat and go, "You were speeding."
Now, the days when you were in the banking business,
I was a banker as an operations officer.
did you like that, or was it?
It was good. I needed something. I was between high school and college, and I just wanted to go out and basically find out a job. And the bank I had basically, honestly, put a lot of money into. It's one of the biggest banks. I won't tell you which one, but it was a big bank. And the guy said, "What are you going to do now? You've graduated from high school." And I said, "Well, I'm going to go to college, but I don't know when." And he said, "How would you like to work at the bank?" So I spent about a year and a half in a commercial bank, and I ended up as a loan officer. So I was making loans of basically thousands of dollars to buy houses. And then I went back to school and graduated from Berkeley. I have a degree in philosophy. And then I started working on different projects and all sorts of things.
You've had a real interesting life.
Yeah, it's been good. I mean, everything so far, and I'm sure hopefully it'll go on. But people have always been nice. Everybody likes Leave It to Beaver, and it's something I'm very proud to have done. And people all over the world. It's not only in this country, but it plays in, I think it's like 26 languages all over the world. It's funny sometimes when I'm in an airport, somebody will come up to me and start talking to me in a foreign language because they don't realize that I don't speak whatever their their language is.
And that what they probably don't understand that you don't.
That's what, yeah, they say. Well, and then somebody else, maybe a friend of theirs or somebody, will say, yeah, they don't realize that you don't speak their language because they watch you every day, and you're, it looks like they're speaking it.
No, that would really, that they could think you were rude.
I think they do because all I can do is kind of say hi, hello, yes, and a lot of times they'll go like this, and that means they want an autograph, and that makes it a lot easier.
Do you get excited now about the future?
No, because I don't know what the future is going to be. I'm excited about what it could be, but I know that I don't want to set my self something that is going to disappoint me in the future. So I know I've got a good life. Everything's going good. There are things I want to do, and I hope I can do them. But if I can't, it's not going to ruin my life.
Do you think God's in charge of all of this?
No, because I think I'm in charge, and He's watching over me.
That's a different take, isn't it?
For me, it is. I mean, I know people that are not very happy, and I find out, that they just don't know what's going on in their life. I know what's going on in my life. I know I was born. I know I'm going to die. And in between, I'm going to do what I think I should do.
Well, boy, you have had one heck of a career. Now on Still the Beaver, was that, how did you get that? Because was that somebody's idea or your idea, or?
Well, they came to us and they knew that Leave It to Beaver as a show, the old Leave It to Beaver, was so popular that they wanted something else. The plans were always saying, well, we did it for 6 years. So
why did it stop in 6 years?
Because that's under the Screen Actors Guild, which all actors have to be in. That's the longest they can sign you up for a show, and then they have to start you again.
Oh.
So.
Well, that complicates it, doesn't it?
Yeah, but it was fun. I mean, the funnest part was when we went back years later, when I was in my 20s, and did the new Leave It to Beaver.
The movie or the
episode after that we did. And it was fun because a lot of people, we got the same crew back, which is
that's
almost
when
impossible.
You were divorced.
Right, I was divorced and raising my family, but we got a lot of the original people back, but we also got the crew of probably 115 people. A lot of the same guys, the cameramen, it was just like you walked into a place and walked back, 10 years, 15 years later, and everybody was the same. They were all a lot older, but we were too.
Now, you were how old then, roughly?
For what?
For Still the Beaver.
Still the Beaver, I was about 16, 18, around in there for the years we did it.
So you were still young then.
Mm-hmm.
I always hate that they had you divorced in that. That to me.
Well, they knew that everything was going so smoothly on Leave It to Beaver, and a lot of people had written them saying, this is not the way things really are in the real world. A lot of people are divorced, and so they had Wally get divorced, but they always said that, well, maybe Beaver should be divorced to show those people, because
he married
Mary Ellen Rogers, his girlfriend from high school. So, but the Beaver was more of the person that should be, so people because there were a lot of people, as you said, that were divorced, and they wanted to show that that wasn't the worst thing that could happen to a kid.
They wanted to know that it's not the worst thing.
It's not the worst thing if it could happen to the Beaver,
and because the way he was raised and his parents, then it could happen.
And it happened anyway.
Because sometimes there's nothing you can do.
No, you made a bad choice, or somebody made a bad choice, and
or people change, or whatever.
Yep.
Somewhere that would fit in philosophy too, wouldn't it?
Yep.
Now, My understanding is that there were some episodes that were actually lost.
I've heard that, but I have never seen any. But the thing is, there are so many episodes. We did 39 a year for 6 years. So it really depends, because I've never stood around and watched on TV, the 39 episodes for 6 years.
But were the episodes shot, was it like they were shot like this, or was it mixed up between, I'll have y'all come in here. I mean, was it shot, or movies or sitcoms like that shot chronological?
No. Leave It to Beaver was shot on a film, like a movie. So we had all movie lights and cameras. So it wasn't like a live show where they go around and they just do it in one day. Mm-hmm. So like if we three were here, they'd shoot a long shot and they'd come in and shoot a close up on you, close up on her, and then two shots maybe if one person was talking a lot more than the others. Mm-hmm. So it was, and we did it in a week. We had Monday we'd come in, or Friday we'd get the new script. Over the weekend we were supposed to just read it. And on Monday morning we'd come in and we'd go to the producer's offices. And most of the people, if they had more than probably 10 or 15 lines, would be there. If they had less than that, they wouldn't. And one of their secretaries would read their part. The next day we'd go onto the set and block it. And the next 3 days we'd shoot it and then start all over again the next Monday.
So the editing was where it was all put together into a show, I guess, right?
Well, yes and no. I mean, yes, it was put together, but they knew what they were doing. I mean, they knew before they started it what was going to be where.
Right.
And it was just a matter of saying, okay, I'm out. Like if we were here, they might want a close up on you, close up on her, but then again, they may want a two shot with you or a two shot with us, because that was something that was really important that we were saying.
See, when I think about it, being not into that business, I see it as it's shot like this, and that's not the way it is at all. It's put into pieces because somebody is saying we're going to need that shot later.
Well, you just like they would shoot everything that was in the boys' room, even if it was the first scene of the show, the middle scene of the show, and the last scene of the show. They would all be shot one right after the other.
So you couldn't really think about it in the sequence of events.
No,
it was just what you were supposed to do.
Mm-hmm. And then they would it was kind of not sad, but the kids could only work a certain amount of time. We could work from 8 till 5 or 9 till 6, and so they would do all our shots, our two shots, our close-ups, but then the adult actors would have to come back if they were in that scene and do theirs after we left, which is either 5 or 6 o'clock, depending if we came in at 8 in the morning or 9 in the morning. So we'd go home, and the crew would be there sometimes till 8 or 9 at night
at
Universal Studios on the lot. So they might have a thing in the living room, or they'd have something in the ward's office or the kitchen. So, and those are all just sets. I mean, they look like a real house, but all those walls just break down. So if we were shooting you, there'd be I'd be the camera and we'd shoot you. And then if they shot me, they'd put the wall back and come this way.
Boy, that would take away my thinking of it if I saw
well,
that.
That's why we usually don't tell people.
Yeah. And you always notice that when she's washing dishes, sometimes there's not a wall there. You're thinking they're looking out the window, but there's not. Remember on McHale's Navy, you ever watch McHale's Navy? They would stand behind that cabinet like they were in a ship.
Yeah. Actually, that was made on the Universal lot, so I didn't know them well, but I knew all those people on the show.
It wasn't that funny, but it was really good.
Yeah, it was a good show.
It was just, it had its own thing.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of good actors.
Would you be out there sometimes and see Gilligan's Island walking by or something?
Not Gilligan's Island, because that was made, I think, at Desilu, and we were Universal. But we saw a lot of people, and Universal did a lot of movies too. So there were a lot of people that you wouldn't see on TV that you'd only see in the theater, and there they were sitting next to you at lunch.
Who is the driving force behind all this? Is it the actors? Is it the producers?
It's the producers. They they had an idea, in the early 50s. And
But I mean, behind any of them.
what do you mean by any
I
of
mean,
them?
like any of these shows that are success.
Well, the producer comes in, and we were Joe Conley and Bob Mosier. They had been Amos and Andy's on radio. Where they wrote all the Amos and Andy's, and then they wanted to go in the film business. And they had, I think it was 12 or 15 kids between them. So they decided to do a kid show because they figured they'd have a lot of things they could pick up from their own kids. And I went on the interview. The interview for the Beaver had about 800 kids for 3 different days, because they just said they wanted a young boy that was an all-American boy. And so I went on it. I went on the interview 4 times, and every time you'd see some of the people that you'd seen before, but there were a couple of new people there. And then they called me back for the last one and said, "You're going to be on we're going to do a shoot, and you're going to be the Beaver." And I said, "Well, okay, it didn't mean much to me." It's just,
How old were you? 6, 8?
I'm 6. I think I was 7. I was just turning 7.
Did your mother take you there to?
Yeah, you have to have
She wanted you to be on it.
Well, you have to have a welfare worker who is from the city of LA to make sure that you can't work so many hours. If you're a child actor and you're working, and you come in at 8, you leave at 5, and if you're in the middle of a scene that they may have been trying to get for an hour, at 5 o'clock she'll walk on and say, "Come on, Jerry, we're leaving." That's it.
Boy, isn't that something?
Yeah, it's a good business. I mean, they take very, very, very good care of the kids.
Now, a lot of child actors end up with issues, don't they?
It's hard to be a child actor and suddenly, especially if you haven't had a lot in your life, have a lot of money, and suddenly the show's over and you have all this money and you may not be living with your parents anymore. I got very lucky. My dad was a vice principal and principal of high school. And so he knew what kids should do and what they shouldn't. And I did some things in my life that he would take me in and talk to me and do other things. But, I had a very, very good life. And a lot of the poor people that were on other shows, not so much Leave to Beaver, I mean, their parents went out and spent all the money they had, and they turned, 21 when you're supposed to get your money, and the parents said, "Well, it's gone." Mine didn't do that. I took my money and went to college with it.
Jerry also had a very solid home life. He did chores. You were with your brothers and sisters, so that really helped also kind of keep him on the straight and narrow.
Somebody was behind keeping him.
Right.
Well, my dad was good he was a superintendent, but a vice principal at that time. So he was dealing with the best of kids and the worst of kids.
Right.
He knew if you did something that it was just, oh, that's typical, or if you were getting a little more over the line, he put you back on the track.
Now, wasn't your mother? She was involved in the something with keeping welfare of children.
Yes.
What? How do you?
The motion picture. It's called the Motion Picture Mothers.
Mothers, yeah, Motion Picture Mothers.
And she was one of the. She was president for a couple times, and had other whatever they have in that organization. But it's for all the people because when you're a kid, you don't really have much say, and they wanted the mothers to know what could be done and what shouldn't be done because at a studio when they have that much money on the line and it's say 6 o'clock and the kid's supposed to leave at 6 o'clock and they go, "Oh, well, it only take another minute."
Yeah.
It doesn't take another minute.
It's 15 or 20 or 30.
Or a lot, sometimes more than that. So it was just, it was a good life for me. I had no problems. And the best thing was you had a private teacher and they could pick the best teachers from the LA Unified School District for your grade level. And that was your teacher for the year, just you. So it was something that was, the best education you can possibly get.
You actually ended up with probably a better education.
Oh, absolutely, because you're on one-on-one with a really well-groomed teacher for your grade.
On the courthouse square at 30 2nd Street is the law firm of Logan Thompson Law. Since 1965, they have served the legal needs for the good citizens of Cleveland Bradley County. If you've got a problem, they're no problem. Give them a call. Well, that was a really good thing, wasn't it? Because if not, you could end it up like some of these others we won't mention. They've had really problems, hadn't they, been a child actor?
You know, a lot of them had parents that the reason that they were there was so that they could get money so that they could, you know, spend it. Where my dad was fully employed, he worked for the LA Unified School Districts, but you know, my parents weren't living off the money I was making on Leave It to Beaver. But a lot of those parents, the other parents, not all of them, I'm not saying they were all bad, but there was a few that, you know, the kids turned 18 or 21 when we were supposed to get all the money that had been saved up, and they got zip.
Well, for somebody to start a TV show or series or movies, it would just be almost impossible to start from scratch, wouldn't it?
What do you mean by scratch, though?
Like not even being in the business or anything. I mean, you'd have to be.
You could if you had, you know, a little training. I mean, it's not that tough. It's not.
But how would you get anybody to even buy it or put it on or put it out?
That's a different story. That's where you go to your people that are at your advertising agency, and the advertising agency takes the show and takes it to certain sponsors who are, you know, whatever they are, and they say this is a really good kids show, and adults will watch it because their kids are going to watch it, and you should, you know, invest your money here to do this show.
So they would actually have to sell the idea
of the show to the people that they were going to be doing the commercials. We had Remington Rand and a couple of other you know, the really big companies, not just little mom and pop stores. These were the big boys playing in the game, and you know, that's why Wally always types all his things, because it was Remington Rand.
Yeah.
It was our sponsor.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Did they ever say that was a Remington Rand?
No, but they always shot it so you would see on the top of it, right above the keyboard, it says Remington Rand on it, and there was always one on the boys' desk. There was always a Remington. But you know, a lot of people. I did when I was in high school, in college. I did everything on a typewriter, so it wasn't like it was something that wouldn't be. No.
That was your computer today. I mean, it didn't do all that, but that was the equivalent. It's expensive and hard to get, and had to have one.
And you had to have one, and if you didn't, your teacher would say, well, go out and go to the library and type it on their library. And you waited for an hour while a guy in front of you typed it, his, and then you got to type yours.
And now they can email it. I can email you, and you can be here in 2 days or back there in 2 days. And it's just, it's hard to believe.
They go to Lee in, 2 years, 3 years, 10 years.
We have to think that it's got to be something. I mean, you go back to 1999. Did we have the flip phone then? When did the cell phones come out? Like
I don't really know, because I've had them, but I just
it was like maybe a brick, the brick.
Yeah. They just come and they go, and then they get better, and then you don't want that one anymore, and you move on to the next one. So it's hard to say.
You use a smartphone?
Yes. Well, I don't know. It's not very smart, but
but you're modern. You keep up with. I guess you have to, don't you? Because you can't even buy the flip phones no more.
No.
Right.
Well.
When you garden, what do you like to garden?
Well, my wife is in the Rose Society.
Roses.
So she does roses and shows them. Isn't that what this called? Showing them?
Exhibition.
Exhibition. That's the word.
And I do photography of roses, which I love.
Photography of roses.
I love it a lot.
So you set up what they call still shots?
Actually, most of it is with the iPhone, because the quality is so amazing. So yeah, that works perfect.
What do you get? How many? I guess you can take a lot of different pictures of roses, angles and stuff.
Yes.
And we have a lot of roses to take pictures of, let me tell you.
like 4 or 5 different species?
Oh, a lot more.
Yeah, a lot more.
And I submit my photos to the American Rose Society calendar. And so every year I usually get one of them at least in there.
You mean in the 12 I guess.
Well, they have 12 of the full pages, and all together, and there's some smaller ones. So there's 61 photos that they accept, and it's been about 500 to 600 entries every year. So I feel really honored that a lot of the times they'll pick one of mine to be in there.
Why roses and not tulips or jonquils?
It just started going to Rose Society meetings in
where we live,
city where we live.
She looked it up, and all of a sudden she said, "What is this?" It says that they're having a rose meeting.
Yeah.
I went, "I don't know. It's something they have. I've seen that. It's always been there." So she went to the thing, and the next thing she was the president of this and the vice president of that. I was going, okay.
Yeah, and he helps it a lot too, and
it's good to stay busy, right?
It is good and be outside. It's good. It's really, we enjoy it together too, which is nice.
What other hobbies do you have?
That's a big one. That takes up a lot of time because you're digging them up, you're digging this out,
pruning,
you're trimming that back.
What about when you you
prune?
No, when you like make a different.
Oh, rooting. Yeah, we do that too. Yeah.
Can you get some really neat colors?
Beautiful colors. There's so many species of roses.
I've wondered why you haven't seen any green roses.
There is a green rose.
A green rose.
There is a green rose. Absolutely.
How do they get that?
Spray paint.
No. Somewhere along the way, somebody hybridized a green rose, and
how would they? So they hybrid them with different things to get the green.
They put different. They have a way to put the different seedlings together, and there's just thousands of different names. And actually, I was very anxious to have the Jerry Mathers rose.
And I have my own rose.
And we do have that now. We had a hybridizer that put that together for us.
Now, wouldn't it be something, you can't get her roses for Christmas or Valentine's, right? Because she's already got them.
She's got a whole backyard full and front yard.
Well, Christmas time, they're not doing so great in the winter.
There's not much to give her at Christmas time. But
me and my wife, we just give up on getting each other stuff. It's too complicated.
Yeah, it's always the wrong size, too big, too little.
Too big, too many, too few.
We just pick out something we both like and make it easy.
Did any of your kids get into acting?
They did community theaters.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
My brothers are cameramen.
The kids, well, your son is also a sound person.
Yeah, a sound person. So they're more behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes, yeah.
Why did June always wear high heels?
So she'd be taller than us and taller.
They were growing, so she had to.
At first, we were way below her, and suddenly Tony and I both shot up, and people were saying, "Wait a minute, how can they're the same size she is?" So then they started getting her a little higher, and pretty soon she was wearing really high heels. But she was a New York model, so it was something
that was what she was originally, right?
Yeah, so she was used to wearing high heels. It wasn't like it was some big thing for her to do it.
Was she? How tall was she?
Probably 5'5", 5'6", around in there.
Because she looked tall in TV.
Well, she had those high heels.
She was thin. She was thin.
She was thin and really high heels.
And but she always wore pearls, right?
Right, because I don't know why, but she had the hollow in your neck right here, and she thought when she was on the screen, because of the way they had to light her, if they put too much light on her this way, it made her eyes look funny. So she wanted to have something that would go over that part of her neck, so they could just use it for regular lighting on her.
Well, there's a reason for all that stuff, isn't there?
Anything that looks odd or peculiar, there's probably a reason why they're doing it that way.
What about even the pictures on the wall? Is everything specific?
Yeah, I mean, there were all things that they, wanted to have there. So they'd go to the photo department and find. When we came in every year, we came in like 4 days early. We started rehearsing the new series, but we also did a lot of stuff to change things in the house or do other things like that. Here's one thing that I've always wanted. I'm a big
sitcom. I guess I don't know if you call it a sitcom. I guess it was a sitcom, right?
Mhm.
Just I call it a series or whatever.
Yeah.
But Hugh Beaumont always said, break your bread or break your
Well,
toast.
yeah.
Why was that?
I have no idea, but the interesting part about him is what he really was a Methodist minister. So it was, and Leave It to Beaver was not why. Before that, he had been in a place where they couldn't afford a minister, and so he had gone to acting to be able to pay for opening up this church that he had. And so when he was doing Leave It to Beaver, he still worked there, but at least it was ongoing then. So just a really nice man, and he's a Methodist minister.
But why did he always say break your? That was always odd to me. But he got onto him several times, and I don't know if that was written into the script or if that was.
Yeah.
Was he able to ad lib any, or was it all pretty well written?
Well, you could ad lib, but if you did ad lib something, they had a director right there, and a lot of times even the writers were there, and they would, if they didn't want it, they would just say, "Cut! Don't say that again. We want it to be said this way." Other times they might say, we don't care about that. That's all right.
So if they didn't want it said that way, you didn't say it that way.
You didn't say it that way, and they would, if it wasn't, they would just cut it out.
Then sometimes Jerry would say something just as being a kid.
Yeah.
And then, we like that.
Yeah,
we like that better. That's the way that's the way a kid would talk.
So they didn't have cue cards for you.
No. You went in, you got a script on Friday night. A driver would drop it off at your house. And so you had the weekend to kind of learn your lines. Monday, we'd go in and read it. Tuesday, we'd block it on the set. So that was, you'd walk and you could read your lines, but they'd rather that you'd known them by then. But if you had one that was a hard one, or maybe for some reason you didn't, and then the next 3 days we'd shoot, and that was 8 to 5. The poor adults had to stay until it was over. They'd sometimes be there till 9 or 10 at night because they'd have to go from one set to another set, and that took maybe sometimes 30, 45 minutes to go to the next set and get all the lights set.
Plus, they had to say, we got to shoot y'all's later because we got to get theirs done because it's almost 6 o'clock.
Yeah, the kids, and sometimes that was really, not the best thing to do because they could have just done it right away, but the next set was way over here, and then they had to come all the way back. But that's the way the game goes.
Was there ever a time when they didn't care that much about the child actor and they didn't set times? Was that?
Not that I know of. That may have been before I
was. It had to have been done wrong before they changed it.
Yeah,
to right.
I imagine Our Gang Comedy and things like that that were made in the 30s and 40s.
I bet that was it.
But when we came in 1957, it was pretty much all sewed up. This is the way you do it. You had a teacher, and she was also your welfare worker, so she was in charge, and she made sure that we could be in the middle of a scene and on a Friday night, and it just wasn't going right, and all of a sudden she'd walk onto the set when the cameras were rolling and say, "Stop, time for the kids to go home," and we'd leave. Because they can only work you from 8 to 5 or 9 to 6.
Do you ever see, now that your friends were, it was first Whitey?
Whitey was one of them.
And then Larry.
And Larry.
Then Gilbert. Then Richard. Was that about it?
Yep.
Now, later on, when you did
the new Leave It to
the
Beaver.
Leave It to Beaver, was that the same? When you came back to town?
Well, we found as many as we could.
Well, was the Richard?
Yeah, Richard is.
Was the same Richard?
And he was kind of interesting because the writers of Leave It to Beaver were Conley and Mosier. But before that, they had written for radio and television, Amos and Andy. And that's who they were. Richard's father was Amos and Andy, but the voice of it.
Oh.
So
that was Richard's father.
Yeah.
And the same Richard.
It was on our show.
And
as they say, he had been working with the writers.
So Richard was the same one, and Still the Beaver that was the voice on Amos and Andy.
Well, his father was.
His father was the voice on Amos and Andy.
And the writers of Leave It to Beaver were also the writers of Amos and Andy on radio and on television.
I see.
And then moved on to Leave It to Beaver.
But it was the same Richard.
The same. Well,
he had kind of a lisp, didn't he, in the first season?
No, he didn't have the list. He was the one with the big haircut because that was his big thing. And
right.
It was always his mom and dad hated it, and they always said, "He went to the barber shop." And he's going, But
And they've been lifelong friends.
Yeah.
Is that right? You
Yes.
mean?
yeah,
Now,
Yeah, they're still
now,
friends.
I read on the internet where Larry worked at a Home Depot in Kentucky. Was that the real one, or is
I
it?
have no. I've read that too, but I don't know because it wasn't in Kentucky. I mean, all of a sudden, his parents, he did, and I can't remember. There was a movie that he did, and his parents decided that they wanted him to just do movies from then on, and then they moved out of Los Angeles, and I never saw him again.
Is that right? He may be alive, may not. We don't know.
Don't know.
How about Gilbert?
He's actually a very prominent producer for public television.
Yeah.
And he's still doing that.
Yeah, I think he
he's
is. I mean,
very, very good.
What about Whitey?
Whitey passed?
Yeah, I think he had drug problems, passed away.
Boy, it's really interesting to watch those shows and to know what happened to the people. What would you say is the most? Is there any time that you were recognized that stands out to you that was the most?
No, I mean people do that to me all the time, so it's something I'm very used to. You know, and people come up to me and say, "Aren't you Jerry Mathers?" Yeah. Oh, I love the show. Da da da. And I talk to them for a minute and move on.
Now, weren't you and Wally back? Didn't y'all or Tony? Didn't y'all go into do some plays also?
Yeah, we did a lot of dinner theaters. A lot of times, the last year of the show, because we would shoot for 6 months and 7 months sometimes, and then we'd take time off, and Tony and I would go out and do dinner theater. It was fun. You went into these, you know, these towns all over the Midwest, and we'd spend maybe 5 weeks, 6 weeks at them, and then we'd move on to the next one. And we were doing plays, so it was easy. We were doing the same play in each one of the towns. Meet a lot of nice people. You go out to dinner with them after the show, and it was just fun.
Boy, it's been a wonderful life, hasn't it?
Mine has, yep. And I found a nice wife, so how can you can't beat it?
You can't beat it. What else you got going on?
You know, we travel around the country doing autograph shows, and we also have a merchandise site, which we have T-shirts and hats. And
Do you monitor the site
I do.
on Twitter?
I do. Well, I actually work with another partner with us. Jerry does personal autographs on the photos.
Yeah, I got one here.
Right there, yeah.
And we so we have that. It's actually Jerry Mathers Beaver Merch.com
On the internet.
on the internet. And so that's really fun. And I also manage his social media. Right now there are 229,000 people on his Facebook page, which is the Jerry Mathers. And it is astounding because they just are just so gracious, and there's so many interesting things that they write.
A lot of questions. Why did you do this? Well, that's what it said in the script.
You remember every episode, or is it like me being in first grade? I don't remember.
I don't remember them, but when I see them, I can tell you pretty quickly what's going to happen in them. But I don't really just, you know, I couldn't give you if you said, well, start on one and go for the whole 7, 8 years, I couldn't tell you what every show was about. And each show had also in it a sub things that went on. And sometimes it's hard for me to see which one is the most important.
And you might have shot it this week and it went with the next week's thing.
Yeah, if we happen to be there.
Do you think that if you hadn't become an actor, what would you have done?
No idea, because I started acting at 2, so it wasn't like I was bound on a certain trail and then got guided off. My mom took me to a store, it was called Desmond's at the time, when I was 2 years old, and she was buying me things for my birthday, an outfit for my birthday. And this lady came up to her and said, "Is that your little boy?" And she said, "Oh, I'm sorry. If he broke something, I'll fix it." Whatever. The lady said, "No, but I've noticed you've been trying on a lot of our clothes, and he seems to fit them all. And I'm the head of what promotions here. We have a fashion show every like Monday or Thursday or something. Could he be the little boy for our fashion show?" And my mom went, "I don't know," because she thought this was the big city.
Yeah.
And they said, "Well, if he did, we'd pay him $10 and he could keep whatever outfit he wore." Mom said he could do that. So that's how I started. And that was when
she discovered you.
Well, she didn't really discover me, because then I went into live TV, and they were looking around. Now in New York, they could go to the New York stage to find kids. And here in Hollywood, there weren't that many that were actors, and so they just said, "Well, wait a minute, those guys that do that, they could maybe do this," and we did. I mean, it was easy, you know. They'd say, "See that nice lady there? You're going to walk up, hold her hand, and she's going to walk away with you." I could do that, you know.
And he did it, and he didn't cry, and he didn't put
Yeah.
up a fuss, and so they knew that they could trust that he could do other
And
things.
there was a lot
as
of money
well.
involved. I mean, they get a kid that walked in there and started crying.
Right, yeah.
They may have to work 4 or 5 hours to get another child over there, reshoot things that child may have done. So, and, you know,
you could make it efficient for them.
Yeah,
Right.
it didn't bother me. I
Yeah.
was so used to doing it, I didn't realize that everybody didn't do that.
What do you think is is there any reason that you know that you're so charismatic? Because that's what you are.
Well, I don't know about that. We had very good writers, Conley and Mosier, who were the writers of
I don't
Leave It to
believe that's
Beaver.
it. I believe there's something else there.
You know, I think one thing is that a lot of people could relate to his character as the Beaver. And a lot of people tell us, well, I was Wally in my family, and my brother was the Beaver. And it was so connective. And I think for that reason, people really relate to him. And it has been 65 years.
Yeah, it's been 65 years and it's never been off the air.
And we say, is there any show right now that you can think of that you're going to see 65 years from now?
Well, I guess Andy Griffith, but that actually came along a little later, right?
Yeah.
Well, I
So
was
that
thinking if some right now,
oh
65 years from now,
no,
right?
they just don't have the talent that they had back then.
I don't know about that,
And the
but thank you very
stories.
much. But it was, you know, it was so easy. It was just I studied my lines. I've been working as an actor since I started on live TV. So when I was doing like Leave It to Beaver and all those shows, they were easy because they were filmed. Live TV, you had to know every line and you couldn't miss it or the whole, everybody was thrown off.
Who's your favorite philosopher? If you had to read it.
Probably Plato. It's, you know, it's just, I just liked it because it was something that interested me. I mean, I could see it, I could read it, and then I'd say, oh yeah, that's probably right. That's, oh, that's
Let's
why.
see, back then there were Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle, right?
Yep, and there still is.
Yeah, they're still there. But now they say Plato got his stuff from
Yeah,
Socrates,
who
right?
knows? Who knows? That's, you know, they were all very, very smart men, and you know, it's just I like to read about them. I like to look up at the stars and see what they saw, and it's just something that people say, well, why did you want to do that? Well, it was just very interesting for me to see all the things that they thought about.
Well, I'm very interested in philosophy too, and I've read all those guys and even Dale Carnegie. To me, his philosophy was.
And people are always coming up with it.
He summed it all up pretty good.
Yep.
And the Bible does a lot of that too. It's just not in our language, I guess.
Yeah, a lot of people don't understand it. That's the thing. They read it, but they don't really
Right.
understand what they're reading. They say, well, that says this. Well, it says this, but what it really means is something a little bit different.
Now, isn't it funny that some people will have an experience or see something? Me and you'll look at something, all three of us, and we'll all have just a little bit different interpretation.
Well, that's what makes it so interesting, is that each person has a different view of the world. And because of what they've been brought up as, what the things they've done in their lives. So some people see one thing and some people see another. And probably both of them are right for what they see, is that's what they believe.
So if we see something, you think we're really not tarnished, but our biases are letting us see it one way because of our experiences and our biases?
Yeah, because that's the things that we know that we have got in our heart, that we see the world that way.
That's the only way we can relate it.
Well, the only way, because that's somehow in our short lifetime, we've seen that, and that's the way we think it should go. But there's a person over here that has seen the same thing and says it's got to go the other direction. So it's, you know, it's just interesting that people, and that's what makes us all different. There's very few people, I don't think there's any, that are exactly the same.
I guess that goes with that saying, when you're a hammer, everything's a nail.
Yep. Very much so.
So if I'm raised in the mountains and I see something, I'm gonna see it this way, or experiences.
Well, if you're the first child, you're going to see everything one way, and if you're the
second child,
you're going to see it. But if you're the 10th or 9th, eighth or ninth child, it's going to be a lot different world. But you've got a lot of people to teach you what to do and show you the right ways to go. Hopefully,
I've noticed that some people that are born in families that work a lot, their kids will work a lot.
Yeah.
And if you're born in a family that views success as not having to work, then they view success as not working as being success. So there's no way you can hardly get that out of your head. However,
it depends.
You're raised, right?
Yeah. Your parents look at you and show you, and you think that's the way to live. And if they're certain parents, they teach you one thing. And if they're other parents, they teach you another.
And it's hard to get that.
Almost impossible, really.
I'm not even sure if it is possible. And I'm always wondered too if maybe that's the way it is because that's the way we see it. Does that make sense?
I think, yeah, if you see something some way and it works for you, then it's what it is to you. But to me, it may be something that doesn't work for me, and you can't understand why, but I just don't need that in my wheelhouse.
And we can, and both our thoughts, we can still go along with these two separate thoughts. But when do they intermingle? I've always gotten that because then we get into. You ever hear somebody say, "Oh, I'm a realist," and I'm thinking,
But what's real?
What's real?
That's the whole problem because a lot of it isn't.
And they're going to say, "Oh, I know what's real," but I'm saying that the way we look at it can really change. So when somebody says I'm a realist, I don't think there's such a thing.
Well, I don't think anybody can be a realist because you really can't see what's real. There are a lot of things that you think are real.
That's right.
That aren't real. If you could see everything and it was real, that would be a different story, but it's not.
Because we're somewhat hypnotized by
we have everything.
Our own biases.
Yes, we have everything, and we know this and we know that. And sometimes you find out after years and years that what you thought was absolutely true is not. It's different. And it may have changed. It may have been true when you were younger, but somebody did something, flipped this, flipped that, and the next thing you know, it's not what you thought it was.
But it's hard for people to communicate when they're looking at it at two completely different perspectives.
Well, different people see different things. It depends what they feel is the thing that they're supposed to see. When you look at something, you have, even if you just glance at it, you have an idea of what you think it is. Mm. But sometimes it's not that at all. It's, it's something different.
I've always thought of it like this. If you broke a window and I said, "Hey, Jerry, look at this window. It's the shape of a horse's head." You'd see a horse's head. Now, every time you looked at that cracked window for the rest of your life, you'd see that horse's head.
No, you better fix it. If you fixed it, I wouldn't.
But if I didn't fix it, you would always see the horse's head, right?
Well, I'd say you fix it, though. I think that'd be a much better idea.
But you see what I'm saying? Once you see it one way, it's hard to change it in your mind.
Not my mind. I change things all the time because I know that I'm not infallible.
But then we get back into what's real, right?
It's real if you can see it and touch it and really know it's there. And there are other things that aren't real. Cartoons aren't real. They're there, you can touch them, but they're not real. They're not real people.
So there is such a thing as realism.
Yes. But it's hard to find.
Especially stuff that you can't touch or feel, right?
Yeah, especially for things you only know about. You've heard about them. They're really there. You may believe them. It may be religious. It may be for other reasons.
Right.
But there are a lot of things that are there that people will tell you, yes, it's really there. I really believe that. And if they do, they do. And I'm not going to tell them that just because I don't understand what they're doing, it's not there.
But now we're talking into to somebody's opinion or the way they.
Yeah, but they're allowed that. They're allowed to have their own opinion of whatever it is, as long as it doesn't interfere with what I think of.
All right, but I'm talking about the stuff that we can touch or feel.
Yeah.
I guess when somebody says I'm a realist, I know what this table's real. I know it's real.
Mm-hmm.
But we could say it's hot outside, it's cold outside. That's the difference.
Well, it might not be hotter. It might be not. Be
that's a matter of perspective.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Perspective can change the way I view stuff. And
well, if you stand up, this table is going to look different than when we're here sitting down.
That's right. The table is still here.
It's still here, but it's going to look different. You'll see the legs. You'll see it right now. You really only see the top. When you stand up, you'll see the legs. You'll see this. You'll see that. You'll see the length it has, the width it has. When you just sit here, you just pretty much see what's in front of you.
So the perspectives change, but the table never does.
No, the table is real. The perspective is different looking at that particular object.
But now, if I'm going through something that's has a different, I don't know what I'm saying, perspective for me that we both can live in is religion is an example. Somebody could have this religion, somebody could have that religion. You're not going to prove either one of them, but we can both live with these thoughts. And so that has nothing to do with realism. That's a belief.
That's right.
That's why me and you enjoy philosophy, right?
I think so. And we can confuse her looking back and forth.
I tell you what, I have really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
I don't want to leave here and thinking, is there something I didn't ask?
We better get it up quick.
Let me see if I got any notes here.
Okay.
Let's see. Why do you think some people are stereotyped?
Well, because they take, as an actor, you take a certain part and you say, that's the way the people that I've seen acted, and they say, we want you to be this character or that character. And so you just look at people that you know, and that's how they stereotype you. That suddenly you are that person. It may not be anything like you, but it's the actor you play.
I think it's the better you are at it, the more stereotyped you can get.
Well, yeah, because you can get a lot more. You can be one stereotype, but the hard part is stepping out of them. When you've done one, and then you say, oh, wait a minute, I'm going to do this one. People say, no, that's not you. I want to see the other you. And the other you could be whatever.
Like, say, Lamont on For Sanford and Son. I couldn't see him in any other role, right? Yeah. Or Jethro Bodine.
Well, but they all are, because they're actors. That's what you got to realize, that they're not. That's not the real them. Just like when I talk to you now, but if I told you to have a different kind of a accent, that you were somebody else just for a few minutes to do a show, you could do that. And you would be.
I don't know if I could.
You could. Anybody can. It's easy. You just take on. You look at them. They show you a picture of them. Maybe show you a film of other people that act in that way, and you say, "Oh yeah, I can see that. He moves his hands here. He doesn't look at you when he talks to you. He's looking down all the time, looking up, whatever." And you are different people.
Let me ask you this. I got one more question.
Okay.
One more question. Let's see. One thing that I thought was ingenious about Leave It to Beaver is they announced the actors in the intro. No other show that I know has done that before or since.
Right? Break.
I don't know.
I think it was
I think it was that window I was talking about.
Oh, okay. I don't really know.
I mean, they said, Hugh Beaumont,
Barbara Billingsley,
Tony Dow,
Jerry Mathers as the
Beaver. And that's the only show that I know that's ever done that.
I have no idea.
Have you ever thought about that?
Yeah, but it was way out of my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
It was something, that's just what we did. Went in, they'd give us a script on Monday, we'd read it, and then the writers would go back and rewrite it, and Tuesday we came in and we blocked it, and the next 3 days we shot it.
Are you going to do any more acting?
Maybe. You know, if I see something I like. That's the thing. I mean, you know, a lot of people want me to do Beaver, and I'm really not, an 8 or 9-year-old boy.
Well, couldn't you be the Beaver now?
I did. I did the new Leave It to Beaver, where I played the father, and I had 2 sons. So.
But I mean, couldn't you do the grandfather Leave It to Beaver?
I could, but it's a lot of work. You got to realize when you're working on a show like that. I was there at 8 in the morning. The kids, I found out, all go home at 5 o'clock. When you're there as an adult actor, you can be there 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night, and you have to be back the next morning at 7 o'clock. So it's a lot of work. I don't mind it if it's a good show, but it's, and to be honest with you, I don't really have to work.
I feel like maybe you owe it to us.
Well, then you can pay it. You can pay your share then, and we'll start.
How much is it?
You don't want to know.
Hey, I really appreciate you coming.
Oh, my pleasure. I've had a good time.
You are the most, I have to say, I'm starstruck.
Oh, thank you. You have a beautiful place here. I mean, it's easy.
I really do.
I
really
know.
is.
I really. You're not gonna have to tell me.
I'm gonna show you around when we get done here.
Okay. I can tell though. It's a really nice place.
And you have got a really nice wife.
Well, I don't know about that.
Jerry, I cannot thank you